Today, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will be discussing once again the Midda of Nahat, one of the 13th Midot of Rabbi Israel Salander, following the order. And Nahat usually is being explained as calm, relaxation, that a person is really speaking on a low tone voice, and that shows how tranquil, how serene that person is inside. But for this week's Parashat Vayakhel, there is also Parashat Shekalim, Shabbat Shekalim. I would like to take the word Nahat into a different dimension and realize that Nahat also has a bad aspect. In other words, we have in the word Nahat the word Nehitut. Nehitut are usually the feelings of inferiority, that a person can feel low, that a person can feel less than other people. And I think that this Shabbat is actually a great reminder of the danger of the bad Nahat. So let me explain. First of all, the Parashat Shekalim, Shabbat Shekalim, reminds us that every year during the Chodesh Adar, Am Yisrael would follow the tradition to chip in the Mahatzit Shekel to participate in the Avodah of the Korbanot. And when you think about that, you realize that a Jew, by definition, is always part of a community, is always part of the larger kahal. Because he participates, because just like everybody else, he needs to pay his own share. And the value itself, the coin of the Mahatzit Shekel, was even going further, because he wasn't just being part of the kahal, but he was even saying that I'm only half. I'm only going to pay half a shekel because I need someone else in order to be something, to be someone, to be hashuv. And that could be very dangerous. And add it to the fact that in this week's parasha we also have the first word of the parasha, Vayakhel Moshe Rabbeinu, that gathers all Am Yisrael. And I'm just thinking for myself, Moshe Rabbeinu did that several times. And when you usually go into a rabbi shiur, as big and as great as the rabbi is and as excited you might be, when you sit there, you might feel, I'm no one special. I'm just like everybody else. So he came, she came, and I came. And once again, the idea of Vayakhel or Hakhel in general could have a dangerous side. That a person feels that he's always just part of something else. He's always part of a larger cause, of a larger crowd, and he himself, for himself, does not have this individuality. But at the same time, when we look further at what the Parashat Vayakhel is about, or what specifically the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu gathered the Jewish people on that day, what did he talk about? Well, he spoke about Shabbat. It was actually a very short speech. Sheshet yamim te'aseh melacha, ubayom hashevi'i Shabbat. He reminded Am Yisrael about the Shabbat. They have to work for 6 days. They will build the Mishkan for those 6 days. And on the day of Shabbat, they need to rest, just like Hashem did. And he talks about the punishment of Mechalel Shabbat, Mot Yumat. And finally, he mentions the mitzvah of Lo Teva'aru Esh Bechol Moshvotechem Beyom HaShabbat, to not ignite any fire on Shabbat. And I want to stop here and ask you a very simple question. The Jewish people already knew about Shabbat. It is mentioned from ages already. Parashat Beshalach with the man. Parashat Yitro in the Aseret HaDiberot. Even Parashat Mishpatim, the Shabbat, is mentioned. And then of course, last week's Parashat Kitisa, V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat, we mentioned that in the Kiddush. So why again? Why saying it again? And why saying it in this very, very big gathering? Vayakhel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael. Everybody was there. Is Moshe trying to waste the Jewish people's time? They have nothing to do, so we're just going to gather to repeat the same thing? And the answer is, I believe, in what he added this time. He spoke about fire. And there is always, by probably most people, a very special connection between the Shabbat and the fire. If you wonder, the Mishnah Berurah says that Lo Teva'aru Esh Bechol Moshvotechem B'Yom HaShabbat is not just the melacha of Hav'ara, which means to ignite, to kindle a fire, but it's also about the other types of fire, the fire of Mahloket, the fire that can be so dangerous, especially on Shabbat, that we are all gathered, that mahloket can do. Interesting. But there is also something else. There's something special about fire. And I think that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to convey to the Jewish people. Fire is something that spreads. It's something that goes from one flame to another, to another, to another, to another. And in life, everything can be transferred, everything can be passed on, everything can spread. But fire has something very unique and very special. And that is the fact that fire never diminishes itself. When you have a midura, when you have a bonfire in which people gather around, looking at the fire is also a reminder of that specialty, that individuality that we all have, that we are unique, that even though we are part of a community, that we are usually working towards a common goal, and that could, has v'shalom, bring rigshe nechitut, feelings of being lower, of being not someone so special. I am just one among the 7 billion people on earth. The Shabbat reminds us of that individuality. And it's interesting that the Pasuk itself says, Bechol moshvotechem. Moshavot is usually the home, the house, the ohel. And we make a mistake to think that the holiness of Shabbat is usually in the Bet HaKnesset, when we go to pray, when we go to a shiur, when we gather, in a Shabbaton event. But I believe that Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people, no. In your home, with your family, with your children, find that individuality, just like fire that never diminishes, but you have to make sure to contain that fire. You have to make sure to protect that fire, because each one of us have that fire in us, called the neshama, called the soul. Ner Hashem nishmat Adam. And that is how we kind of keep the right balance between being part of something bigger, which is, by the way, very important as a Jew, but also keep a special and uniqueness in our own essence and individuality. And that is how the Shabbat can balance that. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu, I believe, gathered the Jewish people to tell them. You're going to build a Mishkan. You're going to be all part of something. You donated, you gave machatzit shekel and all that. And there could be a danger. I don't want you to, Chad Shalom, have the wrong nachat, the rigshe nechitut. And hopefully, with that gathering, you will realize that it's time to go home. As the Torah says, Vayitzeu kol adad bnei Yisrael lifnei Moshe. Again, an extra pasuk. They all came out of Moshe. What was the point of saying that? And I think the message is there, that they understood when they left. We have a job to do at home. It's not just for the Mishkan, for the home of Hashem, but our homes, moshvotechem, to really build this special identity, to make each child feel that he is special, and to feel that each home is actually as important in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And on this, I wish you all Shabbat Shalom Umevorach.